The wind sways the grass on the Ural slopes. Rivers carry their waters through the ages. And in the very heart of Bashkiria there is a story that is thousands of years old. This is the epic Ural-Batyr, one of the oldest myths of Eurasia. A story about the struggle between light and darkness, about the origin of the world, about how a person realized his strength and gave it to the world. You are on the Amazing History channel, and today we are going on a journey through the ancient Bashkir legend. Support us with a like, subscription, and comment. It gives us strength just like the living water of Ural-Batyr. So, shall we begin? The history of the recorded text of the epic began just over 100 years ago. In 1910, the Bashkir teacher, folklorist, and researcher Muhammad Shah Burangulov set out on a folklore expedition through the villages and alls of the southern Urals. He is not just looking for fairy tales, he is searching for the forgotten roots of the people and finds Sessins, ancient singer-storytellers who pass down myths from memory, in a chanting, almost shamanic manner. These stories were accompanied by singing, which was believed to heal both soul and body. Burangulov didn't just record the epic, he devoted 10 years to its study and reconstruction. In the 1920s, the first written version appeared in the Bashkir language in an ornamental style, and later in Russian. But this is not just a literary record. It's an ancient cosmogony that has survived for centuries in the memory of the people. In the Ural epic Ural-Batyr, we hear echoes of Sumerian myths, such as the story of Gilgamesh, about a hero who sets out in search of immortality and conquers death not with his body, but with his spirit. As in Enuma Elish or the Mahabharata, in Ural-Batyr, life arises through the struggle against chaos, and from the bodies of the defeated monsters, the earth itself is formed. Mountains, rivers, caves, everything in the Bashkir landscape bears the names of heroes. For example, the Nugush and Agidel rivers, Mount Yamantau, especially the Shulgan Tash cave, is still connected with the mythology of the epic. On the walls of Shulgan Tash, by the way, scientists have found cave paintings dating back to the 15th millennium BC. Symbolic, isn't it? But Ural-Batyr is not just a text. It was an initiation. Young men entering adulthood had to know it by heart, to experience it as an inner journey of a hero. Today, when we read or listen to this epic, we, like Ural himself, walk the path of choice, between darkness and light, between selfishness and sacrifice, between death and true life. If someone says that this is just a beautiful fairy tale, I will answer that all great truths began with myths. And now, pay attention. We are in a primordial world where there were no cities yet, no names, and not even death itself. They say that in ancient times, when the earth did not yet know humans, among endless waters, where neither beast nor bird had set foot, there was one land, a land surrounded by seas, hidden from the world. On this land lived two spirits, Jan Berde, the giver of life, and Jan Bika, the soul of the world. They did not know death, nor did they know fear. They were the first. Nature itself lived within them. They had two sons. The elder was named Shulgan, and the younger was Ural. The brothers grew up like light and shadow, like fire and water, like two sides of the same soul. From a young age they were different. Shulgan was a storm, an impulse, fire. He was drawn to the forbidden, craved power, and strove to be first. Ural, on the other hand, was calm as a rock, silent as a stream. He listened, learned, and reflected. Jan Berde and his family live outside of time, in a place where death does not exist. Instead of hunting, they use an ancient, archaic way of obtaining food. They do not kill the animals outright. They draw the blood of herbivores using leeches, dry it, and make a drink from it. This is a form of symbiotic coexistence with nature, devoid of cruelty. However, even in this immortal world, a sacred taboo applies. Children are not allowed to drink this blood. Yambade told his sons,
Drink spring water, but do not touch this blood. It is not food, it is knowledge, it is power and a curse.
But one day, when their parents went into the forest, Shulgan said, If this blood is so sacred, why aren't we allowed to have it? What will happen if I take just a single drop? Ural replied,
I won't touch it until I understand what death really is, until I find out if it truly exists.
Shulgan drinks anyway. Thus the ancient taboo was broken. Thus death returned to this world once again. That which was banished centuries ago returned through pride. When their father learns of what happened, he raises his staff to punish Shulgan. But Ural stopped him. This staff was once a branch where birds sang, Do you want death to enter our world? Thus, he stood up for his brother for the first time, but not for his wrongdoing, for mercy, for harmony. So the brothers first differed in their actions. Years have passed since then. The brothers grew up, they became stronger in body, but drifted apart in spirit. Shulgan was still ambitious and impatient, while Ural was quiet and thoughtful. One day they went hunting. In the dense forest, a white wing flashed among the leaves. A white swan was caught in their nets, a pure otherworldly creature. She didn't struggle, she just looked at them, as if she understood that her fate was in their hands. Shulgan raised his knife to finish off the bird, but the swan suddenly spoke in a human voice.
I am Khumai, daughter of Samrau, the king of all birds. My mother is the sun. Since birth, I have been washed with living water, and therefore I am immortal. Let me go, and I will show you the way to this water.
Shulgan still didn't believe and wanted to kill the bird, but Ural believed with all his heart. He lets the bird go. It rises into the sky, flapping its wing as a sign. Shulgan curses the moment. He sees it as weakness, but Ural feels it was a fateful turning point. That's how Khumai entered his life, not as a trophy, not as a reward, but as a call from the heavens, as the embodiment of what he now lives for. At night by the campfire, the parents listened to Ural's story. They realized that their sons never found the way to the living spring. Then Jan Berde decides to send his sons in search of the life-giving spring. The brothers left their father's home. They were to find the living spring, the water that conquers death. Not for immortality for themselves, but for the salvation of the world. On their way, they met an old man standing at a crossroads, where one road led toward suffering and the other toward pleasure. And the old man said, Two paths lie before you. The one to the left is easy and joyful. There is no pain, there is no fear. Sheep graze alongside wolves. No one knows evil and therefore does not know good. The one to the right is difficult. It is full of tears, but at its end there is living water. And whoever reaches the end will be able to change the whole world. Shulgan, as the older brother, decides to take the easy path, into a world where there was no pain, but there was no meaning either. Ural, on the other hand, took the difficult path, through rivers, through forests, through the silence where every step is a prayer. From that day on, the brothers were no longer together. From that day on, the path of light and the path of darkness parted ways. This choice is a universal archetype. Every hero chooses between alternatives, between illusion and truth, like Odysseus, like Gilgamesh. Ural travels through mountains and forests until he comes to the kingdom of Katil, the lord of blood, the ruler of fear. Here, every year, living people were sacrificed in honor of the king's birthday. Katil's daughter was allowed to choose a husband from among the condemned. The king himself chose new slaves, and those who were not suitable he burned. And all this was done in the name of Tengri, but without a drop of faith. Subtitles: Katil's daughter walks along the rows of prisoners. She looks, she searches. She reaches Ural, and suddenly she chooses him.
You will become my husband. I saw you in my dream. Are you salvation or destruction?
But Ural refuses. I seek neither marriage nor glory. I came to fight, not with you, with the darkness. If you don't want to be a son-in-law, you'll be food. And then he releases his battle bull, a huge beast, blacker than night, that trampled cities and ate the living. Ural grabbed the monster by the horns and threw it to the ground. The earth trembled, the bull grew quiet, and from its blood a river was formed. Kill him, all of you, let him perish! But it was already too late. The people, simple and humiliated, rose up. It was as if light broke through the darkness, as if a life-giving spring burst forth right from the stones. The crowd overthrows the guards. Ural grabs Katila and throws him far beyond the horizon. People are crying, but now they're crying with relief. That's how Ural won for the first time. But he didn't take the throne. He went further, on his own path. There where I am, even eagles fly. At the top of the world, in the heavenly land, lived Samrau, the lord of the birds. The one who was older than the sun, the one whose feathers stitched the clouds. He had 2 daughters. One was Aikalu, the moon maiden. The second was Khumai, the sun maiden. The very one who became the guiding star for Ural. Finally, Ural reaches the palace of Samrau. He came without an army, without offerings, only with faith and his word. And at this time, on the other side of the world, Shulgan, driven by envy, wandered in the darkness. In the depths of the earth, beneath the mountains where the sun never reaches, he met the Divs, the devourers of life. Creatures that drank blood, turning fear into a weapon. Their lord was Azrak, the black spirit, the primordial darkness. He was older than the mountains, older than death. And Azrak gave Shulgan a staff, a rod of power and destruction.
You are worthy of power. We will show you the way, but the price is your brother.
And Shulgan went after his brother, but not for reconciliation, for competition. And so the 2 brothers met again in the kingdom of Samrau. Khumai decides to choose a husband, but not with her heart, but by deeds. And in order to determine which of the brothers is worthy, she prepared a trial for them.
Here is a stone that cannot be moved, even by 10 men. Whoever lifts it is worthy to be by my side, not by blood, but by spirit.
Shulgan is the first to approach the stone. He is sullen and tense. He tries, but it doesn't work. He shouts and spits. The stone is stuck fast. Then Ural approaches it. He doesn't say anything. He takes a breath, lifts the stone and throws it into the sky. The stone disappears into the clouds. A moment of silence. Then it falls far away toward the land of the Divs. The sky froze. Samrau rose from his throne, and Khumai smiled.
My choice is made. You were not born of blood, but of light.
Shulgan was furious. He wanted to take everything, but got nothing. He leaves with anger in his heart. Thus the brothers became enemies for good. One became the guardian of life, the other the bearer of death. Khumai chooses Ural, and in this union the earthly and the heavenly merge, mind and will, woman and man. Their love is not physical, it is sacred. Excitement. Zrak learned about Ural's approach, about the hero bringing light, and he raised his army. Millions of Divs, wolves, shapeshifters, worms, and demons came out of the caves. And the great battle began. On one side was Shulgan and the Divs. On the other side was Ural, on the white-winged horse Akbuzat. Behind him were the liberated peoples, animals, birds. In the sky, Khumai, in the form of a swan. Madness, madness. It was as if nature itself rose up behind him. He walked not as a warrior, but as a messenger of the living world. The battle was long. The earth groaned, rivers boiled, the sky trembled. And then, out of the darkness, came the one who was once a brother, Shulgin. He was no longer human. He had become like the divs. His face was harsh. His eyes were empty. They fight, a bright, swift clash. Shulgin's staff strikes like a snake, Ural's sword like lightning. But at the last moment, Ural breaks the staff. Shulgin is defeated, but instead of delivering the final blow, Ural lifts his brother up and says, "I forgive you. But your path is not mine. You will stay below. I'm going to the light." Shulgin is in tears. He goes into exile, deep into the cave, alone. So the brother did not become an enemy. So forgiveness became a shield. And then Azrak appeared, the one who did not know time, the one who was death itself. They clash in a deadly battle. Light and darkness collide. Mountains shatter from the impact. Azrak was powerful, but Ural was alive. He fought not for himself. He fought for the grass, for the water, for the child. Finally, Ural cuts Azrak in two. His body turns into a mountain. When Azrak fell, the shadow left the land. And then the path to the living spring opened, the very one that Khumai spoke about. Peace is coming. People gather around the hero to drink the living water and to gain immortality. But Ural made a choice that no one else had made. The land he walked on was dead. Evil had drained its moisture. Grass did not grow, animals did not sing, and the sun shone dimly. And he understood, immortality is not for the body. It is for the life around. He scoops up water and irrigates the scorched earth with it. The land begins to turn green. Flowers bloom. The air fills with birds, and where there was ash, life appeared. It would seem like a happy ending to the story, but no. Not all the divs were defeated. Some hid in the Black Lake. They waited for the moment to return again, and then Ural took the final step. He approaches the lake where whispers can be heard, and the faces of the monsters flicker beneath the surface. "If I leave you, you will return, and you will spill blood, but I have come so that blood will be shed no more." He kneels down to the water and drinks, again and again, until he drinks the whole lake along with the monsters, to the very bottom, to the last drop. And at that moment, his heart couldn't take it. He died. But not from the wound, but from the light that cannot live in one body. The sky is getting darker. Suddenly, Khumai appears from the clouds. She flies, cutting through the air like a golden arrow. She descends nearby. She turns into a girl. She touches his face and whispers,
Ural, you didn't wait for me. I wanted to be by your side, but you went where even love can't reach. I will never be human again. I won't wear a crown. I won't build a home. I will remain a swan, an eternal wanderer, the guardian of your memory.
Khumai takes the form of a bird again. Her wings spread wide. Light from them illuminates the earth, and she soared into the sky. She circled around the place where Ural lay and disappeared into the sky, leaving only a feather that slowly fell onto his chest. And then the earth embraced him, and mountains grew from his body. That's how the Ural Tau appeared, the mountains that keep the breath of Batyr. His bones turned to stone. The vessel of his spirit became lakes. His voice became the wind. That's how the hero died. Thus was born the epic. Ural-Batyr did not become immortal. He became the land. He became the people. and everyone who walks these mountains carries a piece of the one who defeated death. Well, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Write in the comments which other epics you want us to make a video about. Goodbye, everyone.